Hello and welcome to another part. I'm Mr. Redmond. This is the OnShape Series, and I'm going to make this thing right here on the left. I believe someone who created it is calling it a tower cylinder. And this will be, I'm going to go kind of fast on the creation of the actual part itself, because what we're doing here today is we're going to go from this drawing, create the part, and then create the drawing. So we need to go all the way through from the conception of this all the way to the creation of a part drawing. So we're going to do that, of course, by creating a new document. We'll call this the tower cylinder, something close, click OK. This one is a fairly simple piece. There's a cylinder on the bottom, and then so it's like a square extrusion up to the top, up to here, and then another cylinder there with 3 holes through it. So we'll start, of course, with the bottom cylinder here and build up. I'm going to start on the top plane there, change our view, and we'll do a cylinder or a circle first. It is, here's a thing I need to change. My apologies. We will avoid that sketch. What we're actually going to need to do is change from millimeters into inches. You see, all of our dimensions should be in inches, so we need to make this part in inches. We'll do that by changing our workspace unit. And the menu here will go from millimeters into inches. And click check. So we'll start our sketch again. We're going to start it on the top plane, just as before. We're going to make a circle here. We want it to be 1.25 inches in diameter. We'll finish our sketch, go back to the ISO view. Let's go to the other side, just to be consistent. And we need to extrude this a wee bit. Looks like a half of an inch. Check to finish the extrusion. And then we need to add a square to the top there. It appears that that square is a ½ inch in diameter or in width. See that it is a 1/4 inch this direction, and so that's to halfway up to the center point. So we're going to go for another 1/4 inch on the other side, so it's a ½ inch square. Start a new sketch, click on the top of the cylinder, move to the top view, and because this will make it a little easier, we're going to use a center point rectangle here. That allows us to stay centered on the origin, so that we don't have to add any more dimensions to the sides. This will make it a little simpler. So here's our square. Click down. You see that we need to make this 0.5 width and 0.5 tall. There we go. Finish that sketch to the isometric view so we can see it as we extrude. We need to extrude this up. It appears to be not specified. We have to then do a little bit of math here. So it is this whole thing is 2½ inches tall. ½ inch of that is the base, and a 1/4 inch of that is the very, very top. So 2.5 minus 0.5 would be 2, and then minus 0.25 would be 1.75. So this is going to be 1.75 inches tall. We'll do an extrusion here and change that from 1 inch to 1.75 inches. anchor, and then the green check. Very good. We now need to make this disc on top, so we're going to do another sketch. We're going to choose the very top of our square prism there, go back to our top view, and we're going to make another right there in the center from the origin. We're going to make another circle that is 1.25. It'll be the very, very same size as the bottom. At this point, we're done with this sketch, so we'll click the check and go back to our ISO view. Let's extrude that ever so slightly. It is 0.25 inches tall, so we will check that. But you see that if we don't also choose the inner part of the square, it will leave it out as we extrude it. So we're going to click on it as well, so that makes it solid. We need to actively click on both of those faces, otherwise it will not make both. We're going to reduce this from 1 inch to 0.25. Enter. See that it is much smaller. Extrusion. Click the check. Cool, cool, cool. So now we're getting there. Now we're pretty close. We need to add these 3 holes. We're going to do that. We're going to start that with a sketch, and then we're going to use the hole tool. So each of these is a ½ inch apart from each other, and they are centered on this square face. So we're going to start a sketch. We're going to choose that face right here, and we'll then zoom in and change our view to the left view so we can make this more appropriate. In order to use the hole tool more effectively, instead of adding cylinders, or rather circles here, and then extruding them away, we're actually going to add points onto the sketch and turn them into holes as features outside of sketch view. So we need to add point, which is here next to the letter A for text. We're going to add 3 different points. We're going to lock them into place on this axis. You see that there's a dashed line that shows up when you get it close to the axis, and that's what we want. So we're going to put 3 dots, one here, let's do one here, and one here. Those 3 points we're then going to dimension into the correct location. We'll use the dimension tool here, and we need to go from the top of the base to this first point, and we need that height to be 0.5 inches there. Moves that up, moves them all up actually. This next one, of course, is another ½ inch from the first, so I'm going to click on it, and both of them there, and we're going to specify 0.5 here, move it down a little bit, and we're going to do the exact same thing one more time, just like this. 0.5. Now that we have our 3 points on that face, we're done with the sketch. Click the green check, and go back to the ISO view. I don't like that view. Let's do this one. That is better. Let's move over one more. Okay. So let's turn them into holes. We're going to use the hole tool, which is right here in the middle of our toolbar. We're going to click on it. And we have a lot of options. There are countersink holes, through holes. Hit these drop-down menus. Go from simple, counterbore, countersink. In this case, we're using a simple hole, which does not have any extra features on it. Click on simple. We also want it to be a through hole, and we want them to be 0.25 inches in diameter. I'm going to add modify that right there. Now, this is how we put the holes in. It's quite simple. I'm going to click on each of our dots, our points. Click there, click there, click there. And it is now applied the hole tool in each of those locations. As simple as that. Now I'm going to click the check box, and here we have it, our completed tower cylinder. Now, of course, the next phase is to create a part drawing from this, which I will do down here. Choose. We're going to add a new element down here to the tab section. We're going to create a drawing. We're going to use one of my templates. We're going to use the ANSI version, ANSI version. This is because our part is in inches. We want it the drawing to be in inches as well. I'm going to click OK. We'll make a drawing. Here we go. We're going to use our part from our part studio right here. And now it pulls it up. So here's the front view. We'll put it right about here. We'll also add the top view, which we can put right here. We're going to need to add some more views. So we'll click on project view one more time to put the ISO about right here. Sorry, clicked on the front view first. Get the ISO, put that here. And we don't need another view necessarily from that, but you see here that maybe we do, because the front view, as it's being shown right here, does not have the holes, and that's what we want. We want the holes. So I'm going to hit the escape view button right here. Now, we're going to change the property here. We're going to change the orientation. We want the front, the back. No, we don't want the right. It's thinking for a moment. Go, let's do this. View orientation, right. That's what we want. Take another moment. There we go. Now this looks more appropriate. We also want the hidden lines to be shown right here because it's currently not very helpful. It's just a cylinder. So we're going to right click here, and we are going to click on the show hidden lines right here. Think for a moment, and then those lines will show up. You'll see that there's several hidden lines. There's not just ones showing the square. There's also ones in the middle here that are showing you the center line of the circles, of the holes rather. We also want to shade our ISO just to make it more attractive. We're going to show shaded view here. We'll shade it up and make it look all blue and neat. Let's add some dimensions, shall we? Unlike this drawing, I feel like this has been dimensioned inappropriately. It is not very efficient. It is not very neat. So we are going to make it more neat in this case. First off, these dimensions should be moved onto the inside. And these dimensions here are stacked. This does not look very attractive. We want to ladder these dimensions and not have stacked dimensions. So let's start dimensioning now. We can add our radius here. Very cool. That one's nice. Now we can go one by one and make each of these dimensions Instead of stacking them, we're going to ladder them. So we'll do this line here. And then click on the bottom here, and the center point here. This more towards the center. There we go. Do the same thing for the next one. Click down there, click on the center. There we go. Ladder dimensions are much more attractive than stacked, in my opinion. So now that we have this height and this one and this one and this one, we don't want to then also show all of these. So we will then finish this off by doing the overall dimension there. So the height of the top cylinder can be implied from these dimensions. The last dimension I believe we should add is the distance between the square here and this part here, which is shown, the center of the hole rather, right here. So we'll do that by clicking this side and center and bringing that up just like it was before. I'm going to scoot that over just for attractive sake, because when it's squished in between those lines, it is not very attractive. Lastly, we can show the type of hole, and because we use the hole tool and not just a cylinder, it can give us a little bit more information. So I'm going to click on the circumference of the hole right here, not the center, and bring it out here, and it shows that it's 0.25 right there. Hit escape. Oops. Double click there. We can add some more details here, like enter. Oh, there we go. That's good enough. Hit escape, make that go away. So when I added this dimension, I just double clicked on it there. And I believe at this point we are done. We throw a name down here, and we have a very attractive part drawing. We've gone all the way from through the part creation into the dimensioning. You see that the dimensions are all lined up in a ladder formation instead of stacked on top of each other for neatness. We also have most of the dimensions in towards the center of the drawing instead of outside of the part views, and that is also for overall neatness. And we have not dimensioned the isometric over here because that is frowned upon. You can also add center marks to the holes as well. Do that using this tool here, the center mark tool. Very good. Okay, that's it for this part. Hope you enjoyed this.